My name is Tasha, and I'm from Austin. I had the gastric bypass in June of 2015. I have currently lost 210 pounds. My weight has always been a theme in my life. I was always a very large child in comparison to everyone else. It started off with me just being taller, and then I just was much, much larger. Had to buy women's clothes when I was 10 years old. So wearing floral dresses when everybody else was wearing t-shirts and shorts and things, and I couldn't do that. And I got to around the age of 30, and I tried to really honestly make a change because my health started to digress. And that effort kind of didn't go really well at all. And I just kind of gave up. And then flash forward to about a few more years, I was 34 years old, and my health, I was living on borrowed time pretty much at that point. And a little bitty cute bundle of joy came into my life in the form of my niece. She's 2 years old now, and she needed somebody to take care of her. And I was the person, and it was one thing when it was just me, but when somebody else needs you, you can't really be that selfish and continue to live your life that way. And so I had to make some very strong decisions, and I made this decision, and it was probably the best one I've ever made for myself. My initial research was just to see like what options I had in general that wasn't surgery based, and then just looking at all of my ailments, all the medications, and everything that was going on in my life. I realized that I needed to look at surgery and just as an option, and I started at the very basic, forms of surgery. And then when the facts started to build up, I realized that I was probably gonna have to do a gastric bypass given how large I was and my health. From there, you have to look at who is in your area and who is highly recommended, who is highly certified, qualified, and has, a medical base that can support them and you can support you as well. And Dr. Gunther kept coming up at the top of the list every single time. The fear you have with anything, especially when you talk about surgery, is that it's surgery and there's always the possibility of things not going well at all. The great thing about this office is that they're very open and honest about everything. They don't shy away from the scary part. They put it up front. And then they talk about the precautions and the things that they go through to make sure that is at minimum for you. I personally had to do a lot of additional testing prior to the procedure to make sure that I was physically sound in order to even go through it. And that was really important to me, the fact that they weren't just gonna say, yeah, you can have the surgery. They wanted to make sure that I was a viable candidate and that it was gonna be the healthiest option for me. And that made me feel really at peace when I made my decision. For me personally, this is the person that I've always been. I just couldn't accommodate that at the size that I was. I literally was dressing other people all the time, helping them pick out their hair color, how to get their nails done, what shoes to wear, how to present themselves, all those things, because I couldn't do it for myself. And so to be able to, go and do those things for myself, I thought I was gonna have a harder time dealing with this emotionally because I spent so many years being that large person. I was very big in person, so I try to be super soft and super nice and super agreeable all the time, even though I had those moments like, that doesn't make sense, or I don't like this, but I didn't want to impose myself on anyone because I was so physically opposing in my mind. And then to be able to kind of dress that back and just be myself and be as flamboyant as I want to be, or, it just made me feel good about myself all over again. So there was an emotional adjustment, but I was surprised that it wasn't as tough as I thought it was gonna be. Because once again, I was just really circling back to the person that I actually was. They're so much more different than a lot of other doctors, and because it's not about what he wants to accomplish, it's about what you want to accomplish. The questions he asks and his staff asks of you are questions that are really zeroed down to what your goals are, and that way they can assess whether or not they're the right people to help you out. Quite often you're trying to figure out yourself, can this work? They're trying to make sure, are you the right patient?